the trial starts. Are you worried that at any point you're going to be called, or is it basically at that point all the witnesses have been locked in and you're done?
Yeah, I was worried because like I was hearing that if he gets convicted with Cassie, then Jane Doe will never have to take the stand, so I will never have to say anything or talk to anyone about it. But it didn't work out, and Jane Doe had to take the stand.
Right. Jane Doe took the stand, and she broke down the whole relationship. They were dating for about 3 years, starting in 2021. Prior to that, she was involved with a man who Diddy had a history with in a tense relationship. Who was allegedly a rapper from Queens. They started to hang out a little bit. He flew her out to Turks and Caicos for like 15 days, gave her like $10,000, gave her some drugs to take. And then it kind of opened up a Pandora's box where they would essentially, whenever they would have sex, there'd be men involved as well. Did you do any escorting after the two Diddy situations?
Nope.
Was this a common thing in your world with the other escorts that you knew, like they would have sex with women? There's the whole cuckold situation going on, or?
Yeah.
So that's normal.
I know multiple situations and guys in the industry do it. It's normal.
Yeah, I'll never understand that one, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. Okay, well, according to Jane Doe's testimony, they would have these quote unquote hotel nights where she would basically do what you were talking about. And the first time was with a male escort named Don. Do you know who this is?
Nope.
Okay. And essentially it was the exact same situation. The baby oil, they would have sex and Diddy would watch. And then, after that, that's basically all they would do. 90% of the time they had sex, there was always a man involved. When you went, read about the whole Jane Doe taking the stand and so forth, was she talking about you at any point?
Yes.
What did she say?
That's how I found out. My friend, he's a news anchor in D.C., and he called because he was in the court, and he was like, hey, Rico, they just said your name and showed the picture. And they also said, she was like, he's the only guy that ever told him not to record. And I told him that, and he was like, that's what prompted him to like look up, and then he seen that they was talking about my situation. Cause she said that me and him talked outside for like 30 minutes. It was at the audition. She said the month. And then she said I was the only guy to never say record. And I told him the situation when they was trying to subpoena me. He was the one I talked to about it. So I kind of explained the situation to him. And then he was like, it's gonna be coming. Once he seen that, he contacted me. He was like, it's gonna be coming out because they're gonna release the pictures because they did with Cassie. Mm-hmm. So he was like, you might as well just like let people know before it come out. And it's, so I was like,
okay, when the picture got released, what happened?
It still hasn't been released like on record because she's Jane Doe, so they didn't release nothing like pretty pertaining to her, pretty much,
Wasn't there a situation while you guys were having the freak off that Diddy said that Jane Doe was one of the ones on my A team?
Yeah.
And she said, I am the team.
Yeah. She was giving me oral sex, and I told her, I said, you nice with it. And he was sitting there, and he was like, she's one of the ones on my A team. And she looked at him, and she was like, no, I am the team. And that was the first encounter.
Okay.
And there was actually one instance on the first encounter when she was like, she asked me if I wanted something to drink, and I was like, no, because they had like vodka and tequila. I was like, I drink red wine. And he was like, hold up. So he goes in the room and comes out with a bottle of red wine, and I'm like, strap, like, you got it. And he was like, strap. And I was like, yeah, like you got the wine. And like, then I could tell he thought I meant like a gun. He was like, what you mean, strap? I was like, if I don't have weed and you have weed, you strap, you got it. He was like, oh, I never heard that before. I'm just learning. I don't know the lingo.
Yeah, I've never heard that before either. Yeah.
Then I realized he's thinking I'm talking about a gun, so he's kind of paranoid,
I mean, shit, it could be a whole different, when you talk about a strap in a sexual situation, it could be a strap on, it could be God knows what.
We still had clothes on and everything at the time, and when I said that, like, you could clearly tell he thought I was talking about a gun. He was like, strap, what you mean? Like, he got very defensive, you know what I'm saying? I was like, you got the wine, bro, like
one of the things that came out, in the trial was that at one point Diddy like try to like bargain with like the agency, and it was like, hey, I'm a regular customer, you guys can't charge me this much, I need a discount. Did you hear about this?
No, I never heard that.
Yeah, like something came out in the trial where basically Diddy was talking to a woman that would do all the bookings and so forth, and was like, yo, you guys, I'm a regular customer, you can't charge me that much. And she basically said, well, it's just a $2,000 fee, and whatever you work out with the male talent, that's between y'all. Like, we're not here to negotiate those prices. But I guess he was like frustrated and he felt he was overpaying.
Yeah. The agency never communicated that with me.